What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. This is gonna be the Chaos Zero Nightmare. Um, I guess like early breakdown. I'm gonna kind of give you guys kind of the rundown of what's expected to be in the game since it's not out. We don't officially know. Um, this came out the 29th, August 29th. As I say, the test beta currently is Korea. So here are the breakdowns sections. Got the Gacha system, combatants and partners, battle gameplay, chaos missions, shops, and just miscellaneous other features. Um, so obviously the important one here, the Gacha system. Obviously everyone's talking about this. Whether it's gonna be good or bad. I don't know. I guess I'll give my insight on it. But basically, and the wording's a little funky, so I'll explain it a little more. But essentially, 58 soft pity, 70 hard pity, and a 50-50. And this is for both character and weapon gacha. The combatants, which are the playable characters, obviously you'll see that later on as well, and partners, which are essentially weapons. There are 5 and 4-star combatants and 5, 4, and 3-star partners. There's a static 12% chance for 4-star. Obviously, less important, but for partners, I guess it could be. Since there's more tiers, maybe the 4s might be more viable than the 4-star combatants. And on every 10 pulls, you're guaranteed 4. I can imagine this is probably even individuals. I would imagine it's probably not only 10 pulls. Not many games do that anymore. It's probably just, it says every 10 pulls, so I would imagine every 10, then you're guaranteed a 4 if you do not get it within that previous 10. The banners feature the same 5-star rates for the most part. 1% from 1 to 57, which, like I said, 58 is soft pity. So from 58 to 69, it's plus 4.5% to get a 5-star every pull starting from 58. So I would imagine that means it's a 5.5% at 58, and then if I'm reading this correctly, this could mean that from 58 to 69 you're getting 4.5% per pull, like added each time, so that at 69 or 70 you get the guarantee. Or this is 4.5 up to 69, and then 70 is just a straight up 100. I don't know. We'll have to, obviously once we get a little bit more translations down and potentially the American global closed beta, we'll see more. But yeah, so 5% rate goes up after 58, and then 70 is the guaranteed pity chance to get a 5-star. So it's 100%, but the way that I understand this, apparently there's 6 different banners, which is quite a lot, but the character and weapon ones are separate, and then there's obviously standard weapon and character, and then there's some others that we'll talk about later. But so for the limiteds, it uses limited pulls, which I think I have it pulled up here, which is very good because I don't like when games use the same currency for standard and limiteds, because then that kind of forces you to use your standards on the only limiteds, which means you can't really progress on standard, if that makes sense. I'm glad that there's a separation. So these are the limiteds. I believe it's this one. Yeah, this is the standard. So they do have separate pulls for each banner. And I think, so this is the limited. We'll obviously go over some of this in a little bit. That's the limited. And then this is the standard, just normal, throughout the whole game. And then this is the 50 pity, beginner banner, which still uses standard pulls, but instead of 70 guarantee, it's 50, and it's not a 50-50 chance, obviously, because in the standards, there's no rate ups for the standards, but this one is just for beginners. Once you get that 50, then you only keep the standard banner. So yeah, they take limited pulls, which is great. Same 5-star rates with a 50% chance to get a featured 5-star combatant. After losing the 50-50 to a standard 5-star combatant, the next 5-star is guaranteed to be the rate up 5-star. So it's 50-50. Every 4-star has a 50% chance to be one of these two, which are the rate up 4-stars. Rate up combatants will not be added to the standard. This is very important to know. Unless otherwise specified, and if they change it in the future from closed beta, which if they do, I plan to cover this game. I will let you know. Character-wise, like who to potentially pull for and who to save for, and if potentially the limiteds do come to the standard. But if it's a limited character, so far they will not be added to standard. So take that info with as you will. I know that kind of makes it tough on some gamers, out there, especially free to play. Who to pull, who's good for your account, and who do you like, style-wise, and everything. But so far they're not being added to standard, which makes obviously polling, if you're free to play, that much more important. So just keep that in mind. The one thing that I'm pretty positive on is that this 58, like this 70 pity, is the 50-50. So the guaranteed, so when they say soft pity, when I hear soft pity, I think 50-50. And then when I hear hard pity, I hear 100% rate up. That's the way I understand it. But I'm assuming the way that they're explaining it is that 58 soft pity is the kind of like 1% rate, and then you get that increased rate at 58 and above. 70 is the guaranteed 100%, but not for the rate up, just for a 5-star. And then the 50-50 is if you lose the 70, then your next 70 hard pity is guaranteed to give you the rate up character. Now, the one thing that I guess I don't know is if you get a 5-star prior to the 70, one, does that start then the immediate loss 50-50, and then you're into the guaranteed 70 pulls? So let's say hypothetically, right, you pull this character, right? Let's say you pull this character at 20, right? Then does that mean that you only now have to get up to 90 pulls to get the hard pity for the rate up? So from 20 to 70, you're guaranteed the rate up, even if, let's say, you pull 20, get a different 5-star. So then you keep pulling, and then let's say after 40, you get a 5-star on 40, and it is guaranteed to be this character. That I'm not sure. That's something, again, that we'll have to see once they get more testing and potentially like the global version, because they'll be easier to kind of like translate and see what's been going on. But that I'm not sure about, but I'm almost positive that like the 70 isn't the rate up guarantee. It's the 70 is the 5-star guarantee, and that's when the 50-50 kicks in. And then you have to pull, like I said, hard pity to me would be 140, soft pity would be the 70 in my eyes. But they worded it a little differently here, but just understand that 70 is just you get a 5-star guaranteed, not rate up. That's the 50-50. And 140 seems to be the hard pity guarantee rate up for characters. Again, 1% isn't too low. Obviously, you hear 1% in the real world, you're like, man, that's low. But for limited characters, 1% is not terrible. I know it's the same for standards, but like again, we care about the limiteds, and the fact that limiteds is 1%, that's not the worst. A lot of Hoyoverse games tend to be a lot lower than 1%, like 0.5 or 0.2. So, 1% is not horrible. It would have been nice to have it at 2 like Nikkei does, but, it is what it is. It's fine. But yeah, so that's kind of the understanding that I have of the pity system. There doesn't seem to be pity transfer so far, which is also a potential other concern. But there is a shop section, so maybe that will explain the pity, the pity transfer if they have any. This is the standard banner. Like I said, it uses standard pulls. It's the same rate system, except the 50-50 doesn't happen. It's just a guaranteed 5-star. So 70 is basically the hard pity for you to get a 5-star. And it could be any one of the standards. I'm assuming if down the line they add, new characters into standard, obviously not the limiteds unless they decide to choose otherwise, at full release, then you have a chance to get any of those characters, but there's no guarantee of a specific character on the 5-star standard. There's no like selector or anything. And then it does say does not share pity with other banners. So there does seem to be pity, which potentially is this currency, and this does have its own currency. So maybe that is a pity transfer, but they just didn't specifically label that there is pity transfer. But this says that the pity for this banner doesn't transfer to other banners. So that might be like a quasi way of saying like there is pity for all banners. They just don't cross, obviously, for currency reasons. And then, like I said, this is the beginner banner for the 5-star, pity at 50. Here's the limited partner banner. So this, like I said, is the weapons system. It looks like nobody pulled on the limited, but I would imagine it works in a similar way to characters, where the 5-star has a like 70 right here. I'm assuming standard and limiteds are the same for characters, just obviously limited instead of standard. It doesn't say the drop rates, but it did say up here that all banners have the same pull rate. Right. Most of the game's major banners feature the same 5-star rates. So I'm assuming that the partner banner, which, like I said, I think I have, not that one, right here. This is the partner banner. Doesn't seem to be a limited partner banner, at least not here. Like I said, they didn't have any info, so we'll see. Like they say, they know it exists, so it's there. So we'll see how it works, but it shares the same currency as the character. Like this limited character, the combatant banner, shares the same currency as the standard. The standard combatant shares the same as the standard partner. So you'll have to pick and choose. This kind of is where like pay to win starts to kind of get into question, because you're kind of splitting the currencies between combatants and weapons, and then weapons, tend to kind of like really heavily affect the way that your combatants play. So this could get a little dicey. I don't know. We'll have to see like how much in-game economy we receive polls wise, and if it's fair. There is a little bit more talk about the weapons down below that might help understand a little bit of how we could be okay without the limited partners, but we'll have to see if they tie into each character. Like if there's a limited character, it'll have its own limited partner, but not much info on that yet. But use the same currency, 5-star rate for standard. Obviously, no 50-50. You just get a 5-star partner at that point for standard. Limited, I would imagine, has the 70, soft pity, quote unquote, for 50-50, and then 140 is the hard pity of guaranteed rate up, I would imagine. This one, I'm not too sure much about. I'm going to be honest. I don't even know what it is. It's a cosmetic animation banner. So it says it uses its own special pulls, which right here, it's like a Kodak camera. It's got like a little camera icon. You gain these from captain level, which I imagine is like just your account level. And then and the shop. So you can like buy, I guess, pulls from using Prism modules. Pulls. Use special pulls to acquire a Prism module. Oh, okay. So I guess maybe this is the Prism module. Yeah. Okay. So this is probably the Prism module is what you acquire. But yeah. So it's interesting. Like I said, I'm not too sure what these do. Again, it's in Korean, so I'm not. I don't understand and I can't read it. There also isn't much text, I would say, probably on the banner section that can tell you like what they do. But basically, pull system, same 70 hard pity for the selected 5-star, no 50-50. So I guess you can select the one that you want out of the animation banner, which is nice that they have it for a banner that, again, is its own currency but doesn't seem too important. I don't think it affects gameplay. But yeah, I don't know. Like here, you got the camera. I'm not too sure what these animation banners are. To be honest, the only thing I can think is maybe it's like their version of like a cosmetic system where they add new breakdown animations for characters, and this is kind of how you get them. But I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll have to see with more info. Like I said, if more comes out, I'll update you guys on all that kind of stuff. All right. Well, that's going to be the end of part one of my kind of Chaos Zero Nightmare. Everything you need to know before the game releases. This obviously was on the pity system. So let me know what you guys think about it. Like I've said in the video, 1% is not terrible, but could be a little dangerous. Obviously, the weapons system is kind of when things start to get a little bit dicey, especially if they make characters very, very, very dependent on the specific limited 5-star for them if they obviously have weapons, which I would assume, which is partners basically, tied in with their counterpart limited characters. So we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, there's a lot of closed beta stuff coming out right now, and then I signed up to be a tester for the global one. So if I get access and there's no NDA, obviously I'll update you guys on all the pity system stuff that I can. But either way, let me know what you guys think about the pity system. I'm excited. Looks cool. Limiteds don't come to the standard, so that's obviously gonna feed into being a little more cautious on who you pull for. But either way, let me know what you guys think. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought. And a sub would be greatly appreciated if you're new to the channel. It would help me out, knowing if this is the type of content that I'm reaching certain people that, seem to enjoy hearing my long and droned out thoughts about gacha games. But yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. It'll probably be part two, mostly on the characters and potentially some of the combat system stuff. So yeah, I'll see you then.